Watching NewsX, I'm Rishabh Gulati. Ladies and gentlemen, as we speak, the Prime Minister of India and the lead campaigner of the Bharatiya Janata Party, hoping to return his party and thereby himself as Prime Minister for another 5 years, is organizing and is speaking at a rally in Ayodhya. It's going to be the biggest political rally the BJP has done in this electoral season. The attendance north of 100,000 people. Now, I've been having this conversation for quite some time. For some people, it's still a major, potent matter of elections. Others say not necessarily. So let's boil this down to some basic questions, because political polarization happens. The opposition would love for it to happen. The BJP won't mind it either. They're more than happy to tell you that you know what the Congress is going to do. They're going to do this X-ray survey, and then they're going to take away all the money and they'll give it to all the Muslims. The BJP will be happy if a certain group of people think like that, or that's the assumption they make. The Congress will also be happy. They'll say, you know, we'll do the survey and X-ray into everybody's house for sure. We are going to do a minority quota for sure. In fact, you know, hell with this 50% quota ceiling. We'll change the laws of the country and have potentially an unlimited quota. And we will give a religion quota, minority quota, Muslim quota. We won't take money from people and give it to the Muslims, but, you know, they have first priority. So political polarization is part of the process. But there are some fundamental questions. The first one on your screens. Has India moved beyond the Hindu-Muslim two-nation theory? Is it still core, etched into us as by Curzon in 1905 and hasn't left us 80 years after independence? Is a potent, larger question. The second potent, larger question is that of the worst fears that were peddled to the Muslims of this country, that this Hindu nationalist government is going to come to power and there'll be Muslim genocide and there'll be riots and hell will break loose. Have these worst fears come to any fruition in the past 10 years of proof of the pudding? Is India, ladies and gentlemen, today more communally tense or less communally tense after the building of the Ram Mandir? Think about it for a second. Okay? It's a core question. Have there been any cases, anything that you've seen reported, you've heard, anecdotes, you've spoken to people of Muslims in this country who come out and said, listen, we were denied the benefits of a government scheme, whether it was Ujjwala or it was Awas Yojana or it was insurance, or we weren't able to use a road or a flyover because we were Muslim. Has that happened? And frankly, for the Muslims in this country, the principle is quota, Muslim quota. Is that what is the desired outcome and hope? Or is it the houses and the toilets and the ration and the insurance and a growing India? What is the priority? Let's jump in and let's have this conversation, because let's not shy away from core conversations, because the rest of it is the surround sound. Joining us on the broadcast, Major Mohammad Ali Shah. Shams Ravish Rain is joining us on the broadcast, and Professor Madhav Nalapa joining us on the broadcast as well. What you're watching on your screens are shots from the Ayodhya Ram Temple, where Yogi Adityanath, the Chief Minister, is there now for the second time, taking darshan, and he's going to be followed by the Prime Minister very shortly, who will then be attending a rally and making a speech very shortly. So you're seeing that on your screen. So let me open this up and take the questions one by one to our guests, and let's see what conclusions we can hope to draw from them. Major Mohammad Ali Shah, this is a subjective question. You know, it's not going to be objective for obvious reasons, because the biggest objective exercise is underway in terms of voting. What was the exact reasoning for people to vote is something that perhaps we'll never know, but we'll have to analyze once the results come out on June 4th. But in your subjective assessment, are we a step closer today or a step further away from this assumption that was made by the British in 1905 and then imposed upon us, that we are two countries, one of Hindus and one of Muslims? Are we still there, or are we moving away from it?
Okay, Rishabh, that's a very good question. After the partition, the pains of the partition of 1947, it took so many generations to forget. So it was still lingering on, and it's slowly getting healed. I mean, it has healed, we can say that. So most certainly, I do not see Indians as Hindus or Muslims. I see Indians as Indians. I see our nation comes first, always and every time, and then comes religion, caste, creed, sect, tribe, region, wherever you belong to. The very fact is, the pains of the partition were healing. It takes more than three generations to forget when such a thing happens. What Britishers used to do was divide and rule policy, which we all know of. They would divide and they would rule over us, and we would fall prey to their strategies and their agenda. Now, again, when the Prime Minister, when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat in the year 2002, the Muslim community was upset with him because under his regime, under him as the Chief Minister, there was a riot that took place, a Goda riot, which people don't forget. And after that, the pains were healed. They were healing. It's been over 20 years and pains were healed and the wounds were healed, Rishabh. So most certainly, even as an Indian Muslim, I'm very proud. I'm Indian before I'm a Muslim, and I'm sure, I hope it's the case with every Muslim. In fact, the Muslims that I know, that is the same case. And we do not consider ourselves at all. I mean, from no angle. My forefathers from generations are buried in India, in fact, in Uttar Pradesh. In fact, we belong to India and we'll die here. We are the son of the soil. Okay. And we are as patriotic as anyone else.
So you are more optimistic, because let's not kid ourselves. That's the truism of India. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the two-nation theory was created. It was created. Okay, we all know it was created. And here we are 80 years later still buying into it. Do our politicians buy into it in every election? Yes. Does the BJP tries to polarize? Yes, it does. Does the opposition really depend on polarization? Absolutely. You're seeing it happening in this electoral cycle as we speak. So do politicians sometimes aid and abet? Yes, they do. But are we moving towards, in between the electoral cycles, are we moving away? On your screens right now is Iqbal Ansari. Iqbal Ansari, as you well know, was the chief litigant. His father, rather, was second generation who fought the case against the Ram temple construction in Ayodhya. And he is moving on. Okay? A property dispute has happened in the family. When the property dispute ends, it's better for the entire family. Everyone benefits. And we've been discussing through the course of the day the sheer magnitude of what is taking place in Ayodhya as we speak. As we speak, ladies and gentlemen, the amount of travel and tourism to Ayodhya has exceeded the Makkah, Medina daily visits. It's exceeded St. Peter's. It has exceeded the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem already. Okay, and that brings in economic benefits to the region as well. So let me put the same thought, same question to Ms. Ren. Ms. Ren, are we slightly further away from Lord Curzon telling us that, listen, we need to partition Bengal because Muslims and Hindus can't live together. They need to be governed separately? Ms. Ren, can you? Yeah.
Yes, that is not the case at all. In India, Muslims and Hindus have been living here from ages, and they will keep on living here. So governments will keep on coming. They will try their best. Even the Britishers also came. They also tried to do a lot, but then again, they were a bit successful by dividing India into three countries. But yes, nothing is going to happen. We all are going to stay here. We all will be together. Okay. About you saying that the government polarizing it, yes, it is very shameful that even till this day and age, government still talks about Hindu and Muslim. They keep on saying that Muslims will do this, Hindu will actually do this. There's some danger to them and all. That is very shameful act of them making such kind of statement even now.
Okay, but
They
so
should
the
be talking
politicians still
about.
assume, ma'am, they still assume that we are ready to be polarized. We still something in our fears and hopes and aspirations ready to be polarized. So let me then ask you the second obvious question. There was a lot of fear mongering, okay, away from the political polarization that you and I have to deal with, become part of our political lives. But a lot of fear mongering. The fear mongering 10 years ago was this is a Hindu nationalist government. There is going to be a genocide in this country. The Muslims of this country will be kicked out. Their citizenship will be taken away from them. There is going to be communal strife. Everything but short of civil war is going to take place in this country. Now, it's been 10 years of digestion. Have the worst fears been realized?
The Delhi riots that happened in around 2020, that was one that happened. No genocide, no, that I won't accept that anything this sort of happened. But yes, Hindu-Muslim rights happened. Yes, some wrong happened in different states. Yes, but no, not of that grave that every Muslim will be killed, every Muslim will be thrown out of the country. This country will not be theirs at all. I won't agree that any of this sort of happened, but yes, differences happened. Muslims, not on a very large scale, that they had to face a lot of difficulties, but yes, a bit here and there they had to. So if someone said that they might have thought that something very huge would happen because of the history of 2002 Gujarat. Someone thought that something very grave would happen. That grave didn't happen, but yes, little bit here and there it happened, and that was
Okay,
very
so
shameful. That
not
even at
perfect,
this day and
not
age,
perfect. You can spot some anomalies, but no. Actually, there is millions of Muslims citizenship has not been snatched away. There has been not necessarily anything that would remotely account to some sort of genocide, as certain foreign publications would tell us is about to happen, imminent in India. We all live in India. We know none of these things are happening, right? But the assumption is made. It's called fear mongering, okay? And fear mongering was taking place. And 10 years later, is it something to live up to? So let me get Rajanji into this conversation. Rajanji, is India, our country, is Bharat, are all of us facing increased communal tension? We are in a stressful, high-stakes political season. Votes are being cast. Careers, reputations are at stake. Are we more communally tense today after the Ram Mandir has been built, or are we less communally tense today after the Ram Mandir has been built?
You see, Ram Mandir for us is less of a mandir or temple and more of a national sign of resurgence. Okay, when we connected with our main point of two-nation theory, let me go into the genesis of the whole thing. Before British conceptualized it, I'll go deep into the history. Around 1760, when Marathas were on ascendancy in the North India, at that time Shah Waliullah, he was an Islamic scholar. He wrote to Ahmad Shah Abdali in Afghanistan to come and attack and unleash jihad on India because India was under, occupation of Kafirs. All right, he came and then he unleashed a reign of terror in the northwestern part of India, which is primarily now a part of Punjab, which is in Pakistan. All these areas of Potohar, Chakwal, Til Lahore, Multan, everywhere. There is a Punjabi proverb which is still prevalent in Pakistani Punjab, although in our part people have forgotten it. That is
Ahmad Shah Abdali da?
Pita.
Yes.
Yeah. Khada Pita Laheda, Baki Ahmad Shaheda. Now coming back to the
let me explain that to people watching the broadcast, okay? Yeah. The reason it is said that Punjabis by nature and culture are boisterous, large weddings, they drink large, eat large, is encapsulated in that proverb. Because you don't know when you're going to be invaded and killed and everything is going to be stolen from you. So may as well live life now. That's what that proverb is supposed to encapsulate that. Finish your thoughts, sir.
I'll carry it forward. Now the thing is, when he came, he looted, plundered indiscriminately all of them, because till that point of time, most of the Punjabi population already had been converted to Islam. So when he looted indiscriminately, he looted 2/3 of Muslim population and 1/3 of Hindu population. That is why, and he never discriminated. He never choose sides.
Okay, but Rajatji, my question was, sitting here in 2024, 3 months after the inaugural of the Ram Temple, are we facing increased communal tension? Are we nervous? Are we looking at neighbors to see whether they are Muslim or Hindu? Are we feeling uncomfortable in our major cities? Are we communally tense because of the Ram Mandir construction, or are we less communally tense because of the Ram Mandir construction?
I am coming on that. I gave this historical evidence because that was defuncting of two nation theory, in history. Later it got defuncted 1819 in Kashmir also, and then finally it got defuncted not in 1971 but in 1948 when Muhammad Ali Jinnah went to Dhaka University and said, "You are one language of the entire West as well as East Pakistan will be Urdu." And finally, it got climax in 1971 when the culture dominated the religion. My point is, for us, Ram Mandir is a cultural icon. Ram was, even in Pakistan, the Lahore, it was made by love. Kasur, it was made by Kush, both sons of Raja Ram. And then Peshawar, it was made by Pushkar. So we have in subcontinent, we have our common cultural heritage that is called cultural nationalism. All of them, irrespective of individual faith, what they are professing. Religion is one's individual prerogative.
Okay. Short answer, Rajanji. Yes. Are we communally tense? Are you stressed out? Are you worried today?
We are.
You see communal tension in India right now?
Of course, it is, and it is why, because of so many reasons. These are internal as well.
Okay, so you say yes, there is communal tension in this country. Let me put that to Professor Nalapat. Professor Nalapat, are you sensing, as you travel and write and meet people, a heightened sense of communal tension, that we are on the precipice of everybody looking at their neighbors and wondering what religion they are, or a lack thereof?
Rishabh, frankly, I have not seen any difference between a Hindu and a Muslim, or a Christian or a Sikh for that matter. I think we're all the same. We're all Indians and we're all proud Indians. I agree completely with Major Muhammad Ali Shah when he says that, quite frankly. Now, when you know somebody well, he or she becomes a friend, then the identity is that of a friend. The identity is that of a friend or a close friend, an acquaintance or whatever, or a business partner. That identity becomes very important. And again, frankly, I do not think that religion will play much of a role in that. Look at Lord Ram. Lord Ram belongs to everybody in the world, not just India. We're talking about the 1.4 billion people of India, including the minority, so-called minorities in India, because I'm unhappy that, even after 1947, we were divided into this majority and minority when we should all have been one India. But Lord Ram belongs to every one of us. And we in India have a special right to be proud of the fact that Lord Ram belongs to India because of the history. You have, whether it's in Greek history or in Roman history or in even Egyptian history, or you have the great iconic figures that the whole country is proud of, the whole country celebrates, and Lord Ram is one such figure. I'm very happy to see, Rishabh, that in Ayodhya, there's a significant Muslim community, and that community has very peacefully accepted the Ram temple. And in my view, the three places, Kashi, Mathura, and Ayodhya, if they're restored to what they were before Aurangzeb looted and ransacked and destroyed them, a lot of the communal tension that we are seeing, a lot of the efforts at communal tension that we are seeing will dissipate. I've been saying this for more than 3 decades now. In Ayodhya, you see peace. And what else do you see coming up? You see a magnificent masjid coming up. It's not just the Ram temple. There's a magnificent masjid coming up near the Ram temple. And that is a sign, frankly, that the two-nation theory is gone. It was never should have been adopted to begin with. It was a British trick. Unfortunately, many people in India fell for that trick. Many people believed they were not safe in India because of the quote-unquote Hindu majority. They were wrong.
Okay.
And today what you're seeing in Pakistan, they realized they were wrong. But that mistake, I don't think will ever happen.
Okay, so yeah, just to put it into context, you've been seeing, of course, the designs of the masjid that is being built, and we've interviewed twice the team that is in the process of building it. You're seeing on your screens right now. This is not found people. These are people that in the course of our reporting we find, and you can find these clips on our YouTube. These are Muslims, because anywhere in the country you go, you'll find Hindus, you'll find Muslims, you'll find Sikhs, you'll find Jains, and they're talking about whether the roads have improved and they're using UPI or not, whether they've received a house, whether they've got a toilet in their families or not. So then let me put that question to Major Shah. Major Shah, to the best of your knowledge, sir, have you seen reported anecdotal evidence that seems to indicate that over the past decade that Muslims in India, Indian Muslims, have been denied schemes? They have not received their houses, they have not received their toilets, they're not getting insurance, they aren't allowed to use the flyovers and the roads and the new trains that are being built because of their religion.
Okay, Rishabh, firstly, let me put one point in perspective for everyone to understand one thing. That in India, I believe, and I have personally experienced that also, not just believe that neither Hindus nor Muslims are in danger. We are all equally safe and equally unsafe as per any citizen of India would be there. With regards to, in case there's a chain snatching, for example, a thief will not do a chain snatching, seeing that, oh, burkhe mein hai to Musliman hogi, agar sindoor hai to Hindu hogi, and by chain snatch karunga. No. A criminal will do his criminal act irrespective of your religion or your caste, creed, region. So we are equally safe, equally unsafe. So koi khatre mein nahi hai. First, let that anxiety out from everyone's mind. We are all safe. And I, being a Muslim, if I respect other religion will definitely respect me. I totally concur with Professor Madhav Nalapat. He gave a very, very balanced and a very, very mature thinking. Hats off to him. What he said, when you know somebody, you will not see कि ये हिंदू है कि मुस्लिम है. वो इंसान है भाई. ना हिंदू बनेगा ना मुसलमान बनेगा. इंसान का बच्चा है तो इंसान बनेगा. It's as simple as that. But then actions speak louder than words, right? So they are action-wise. I've never felt discriminated, or I've never paid attention that my name
is my question is, as you know, you're well traveled, well versed. Okay, your family has been involved in everything from the armed forces to education to politics to the arts to theatre to Bollywood. I mean, literally everything. You yourself have partaked in many of these. Have you come across Muslims who have come and told you that, listen, my neighbor, he was a Hindu, so he got a PM Awas Yojana house, or they got their insurance certificates, but the local authority didn't give them to us because there was a religious discrimination? Have you come across any anecdotal evidence of this?
Nothing at all. No evidence to bahut dur ki baat hai. Not even a whisper have I heard of this. Okay, Rishabh. But the fact is, yes, if you ask me in large, by the Muslim community, they have been hurt by the Prime Minister's speech in Rajasthan during the election campaign when he mentioned about infiltrators and he mentioned about. So a lot of that's for them. Yes, we are not infiltrators, definitely. We are as patriotic as anybody else. My father was the deputy chief of the army staff. He was the vice chancellor of the Aligarh Muslim University. My uncle is Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, several national awards. I have risked my life on several occasions safeguarding our national frontiers. So we definitely are not Ghuspetiyas or infiltrators. We are as patriotic. We love our motherland and we will die.
Okay.
Even now, I'm not in uniform, but I'm willing to live my life happily for this nation, Rishabh.
Okay. So no, there is not to your knowledge any discrimination in government schemes. You would prefer that comment passing in even in a political realm at a senior level is a bit more cautious and a bit more inclusive. So let me put that same question, or let me take it forward to Ms. Rain. Ms. Rain, to the best of your assessment, you speak as an individual, you don't speak as some sort of self-appointed community spokesperson, but in your best estimate, do Muslims want a quota? Do they want better houses, better roads? What is a more desirable immediate aim?
Well, I would say that yes, government, not only this, I'm talking about all the times, even in Delhi, you would say any area which you find is not looking good, it's really in a very bad shape, you know that it is a Muslim area. So yes, government has to, I'm not talking about the quota over there, but yes, government needs to pay attention to the Muslim colonies as well. You can't say ki it is their place and they don't want to do it and all. You have to give that kind of a space wherein they could live into a in a good place wherein the area is clean. You actually tell them what is good, what is not, promote them in the education. Very unfortunate that in Muslims, education was something that Prophet Muhammad from day one has said that it is the most important part. But very unfortunately, in Muslims, education has gone on to the last desk now. No one is talking about education, and that has led to them not getting educated, promoting their kids into more early working space, and that has led into Muslims not growing mentally and not getting the sense that what society needs and how it should be run, and the government has started ignoring them completely.
Okay.
So, as a quota would be only that you help them out to become a better place, better society. Their entire area becomes a better one.
Okay, so not
Yes, tell me.
necessarily quota, maybe quota, but certainly development focused on education and simple things like urban renewal and a decent home to
Cleaning,
a decent home,
sanitizing.
yeah, a decent home to live in, a clean place around you, which seems reasonable. It seems practical. Okay, so let me then put the question to Rajanji. Rajanji, we have countries around us, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and oftentimes, despite the best effort, despite Maldives is a great example, okay? Despite the best effort made by the country to provide all sorts of developmental help, support, least interference, they feel that this is a very big country, okay? So there is a sense of insecurity that comes in, and it can happen, okay? You might be in a room and you might have a sense of insecurity, which may be justified, may be rational, may be irrational. Should we be open enough to say that, okay, there are a certain segment of Muslims in this country who, despite nothing happening in the past few years, which is rational, have a feeling of insecurity when somebody, is talking only about temple and somebody is talking about, the Hindu issues and Hindu Rashtra, and that is something that is reasonable and needs redressal.
See, there is a strange equilibrium between the Muslim voters and the political parties. It has been there. I'll give you one historical example. While Indira Gandhi was at the helm of affairs, the earlier avatar of BJP, Jan Sangh, it hardly used to get 15-20 seats in parliament. Despite that, the entire criticism of the propaganda, political propaganda of Indira Gandhi used to be focused on Jan Sangh. And two words used to be there. One was Pratikriyavadi, reactionary, and the other was fascist. You have to be beware of fascist and reactionary forces. Although BJP had geographically also, very small presence, and ideologically also, as I told you, electorally also, because they used to get 15-20 seats. Now, from that day onward, one thing which Lalu Prasad kind of politician, Mulayam Singh, and other people down there, in Janata Dal secular in Karnataka, they have learned one thing. They know if you just scare the Muslim masses, that tomorrow, when the people RSS back BJP, if they come to power, if they people have 400 seats in parliament, they are going to damage Islam ko khatra hai. Okay, now that phenomena works. And then they people cobble together like there is a MY factor in, for example, in UP, Muslim and Yadav, same MY in Bihar. So Muslim masses, they fall prey to, their leadership has to come to fore. For example, All India Muslim Personal Law Board, why can't they have a dialogue with their own community and tell, when there's, houses are built, they are built equally in the numbers for you also, for Hindus also.
Okay.
Roads are made for you
Okay,
also.
so you
for
would
Hindus
prefer
also.
organizations like the All India Muslim Personal Law Board as an example. There are others. You would
Yeah,
prefer
yeah.
that they go and tell people of the Muslim community, don't be afraid, because right now their leaders
Yes.
seem to be telling, please be afraid, be very afraid. This will happen. This
There
will
you
happen.
are.
So
There you are. There you
you
are.
would want a different change. So now let me reverse the
And
question.
one
Yes,
line,
yes, please.
I would like to add. Proportionately, Muslims are, in greater number, they are beneficiaries of all these welfare schemes. Why? Because economically they are down. Whenever there are economic soaps and welfare schemes, and rolled out, those people who are below the
Yes, so
poverty
I know
line
that's
or
a larger
below the line,
question. The larger question says that all the
they get more
beneficiaries
benefited.
of,
Yeah.
of welfare schemes of the government should happen on the basis of your economic position, not
There you are.
necessarily on the
Yes.
basis of
Yeah.
anything else. But that's a very complex question. I don't have the time for it. Major Shah, quick
Yes.
interjection, then I have a question for you. Major Shah.
Right. By All India Muslim Personal Law Board going and telling people, many Muslims don't even listen to them. I mean, they don't recognize them, many of them. I'm telling this to you honestly. I think more people would be hearing people like Muslims like Shams Ravish and Major Muhammad Ali Shah on NewsX than people would listen elsewhere. So I think, firstly, I commend NewsX for doing a great service. You're giving a message, and I would like to give a message through you and through your channel, especially to Muslims, कि कोई खतरे में नहीं है. बिंदास रहो, आसमान खतरे में, मिलजुल के रहना है.
I will present to you, and this is now a truism because it's an application for now years and years. Okay, you have two choices as a person in a privileged position like mine. Okay, which is to make decisions, right? And the choice says that if I want to have a toxic, nasty, ugly, horrible conversation, let me find the most extreme nonsense talkers, put them on television and make a big deal about them. I have that choice, or I have a choice, and we're not finished here, so let's carry this on. Or I have the choice to say that no, the people that have nothing substantive to say, have just want to do vile and venom, nothing logical to say, should not be given the platform just because they're obscene. So then let me but that doesn't make us shy away from the difficult questions. Let's address the difficult questions. Major Shah, let me then point out the reverse. Because it is reasonable to say that whether something has actually happened or not, okay, because you're being told all day or for many other reasons, there might be a sense of insecurity, there might be even a sense of fear, and that requires a redressal. It requires a sense of, a pep talk, a sense of confidence, a reality check. But if we reverse the question, because Hindus in this country, hear what's being said online or on, let's say, TV channels in Pakistan, where on the streets the people are saying that all the temples should be destroyed. The latest thing going on in Pakistan, they're saying that because they built a temple in UAE, that was the reason for the storm and the flooding, because God was so upset. And people are saying this on the streets. No, but the people are saying this on the streets. So then they say, right. It could be reasonable fear of Hindus in this country that, look, for those who got left behind in Pakistan, they have been annihilated. In a Muslim majority country, the minorities they've been eradicated. No good scenario in Afghanistan. It gets worse in Iran, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, a lot of unhappy places. So if one day the Hindus become the minority in India, the same will happen to us. How do we address that?
Rishabh, Pakistan is a very bigoted society. The minorities, the way they are treated in Pakistan, the lesser said, the better. I feel very sad. I mean, very, very sad for the minority community in Pakistan. You see minorities in Iran, you see minorities in China, you see minorities. What are they going through? But here in India, I can still proudly say that, when the Ram Mandir was inaugurated, I was celebrating with my neighbors. I know so many of my Muslim brethren who are celebrating with their Hindu friends. And we have mazhab nahi sikhata, aapas mein bair rakhna. We all are one. We all have to, you gave the example of the Ansari family who ran a legal case for years and years and decades together. And now they were there, wo shirkat kare, during the inauguration of Ram Mandir. So that was never an issue. That in fact, Muslim community has reconciled to that. They have accepted it, and in fact, they are Muslim people. Even I'll give an example of a rickshaw wala in Ayodhya. रिक्शा वाला पहले वो 5 रुपए कमा रहा होगा, अभी वो 1,500-2,500 कमा रहा होगा. Because
Okay.
of the population that rushed to Ayodhya, they are benefiting economically. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let me bring Professor Nalapat back in. Professor Nalapat, we have to address the psychology of it also, because the root of this is there. Practically, we are seeing the country progress. Practically, you and I would like to see the ports built and the semiconductor factories, and those things are beginning to happen. But there is a psychological issue, and it plays on the minds of Hindus in this country, it plays on the minds of Muslims, and politicians feast off it. So how do we address these psychological concerns?
Rishabh, the point is that now we are proud of the entirety of Indian history. All 6,000 and odd recorded years of it, not just the 200 years of the British Raj or 600 or 600 years, but the full 6,000 years. And I think that history belongs to everybody. Long ago, the RSS chief said the DNA of everybody in India has got the cultural roots of the Vedic times, then the Mughal times came, and then the British time came. But the DNA is a fusion of all that. And here you have the Vedic period, which is about 5,300 years out of around 6,000 years. And the fact is that this is part of our history. And it's a history that belongs as much to Major Muhammad Ali Shah or to Miss Ryan, who I really, she's one of the best legal minds in coming up in the profession. That is the fact. And at the same time, there's an organized effort to show incorrectly, that India is driven by Hindu hate and fanaticism. You had this in the past that there was Hindu terror. Now you've got this thing about Hindus being full of hate. Now the CAA, it should have been, personally, I would have named it the Minorities Protection Bill, because that's what it is, a protection of the minorities in Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Pakistan. It has been twisted to try and imply that citizens of India will lose their citizenship. Not one citizen is in any danger of losing citizenship because of the CAA. And yet, that is a widespread impression that has been falsely created by political parties and by others who are spreading a false narrative. So this is the problem. A false narrative is being deliberately spread. And I can only say it is most unfortunate, because the fact is this narrative flies in the face not only of the reality of all of us being one, but in the national interest of all of us. You cannot grow and develop unless everybody is developed. Supposing, for example, Delhi is polluted. How do I, ensure that I breathe unpolluted air? I have to make sure the whole of Delhi is unpolluted. The whole country then has to become unpolluted. And that is why the question is, frankly, Rishabh, this effort to divide us on the basis of religion, in my view, it's an effort that is going to fail, but it is there. And CAA was an example of that. A law which has no impact whatsoever on a citizen of India. It is an impact only on minorities in Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan, was twisted to mean wrongly that it was affecting the citizenship of minorities in India.
Okay, all right. So let me address a couple of things, and I want to get you some ground reports from Ayodhya after this. So Ms. Ryan, let me come to you, because it's become a very awkward conversation to have, and the more honestly we have it, the better it is for all of us. The reason that all the older temples are in the south of India, because they were destroyed in the north of India. I mean, it's common knowledge. You go to the Qutub Minar. It's not unique to India. When St. Peter's was built in the Vatican, they took all the marbles from the pagan temples in the Forum and they built the colonnades. They took the marbles from the Colosseum. It is not unheard of in other parts of the world, but it happened here in India. So why do we still have to fight this out, that, Gyan Vapi and Mathura, we know the historical records. Why fight it out and pretend that, no, nothing happened?
No, first, sorry, I would like to start here that why this kind of fear is there among everyone, that Muslims are going to die or they will be killed, is that if you will see that the one sitting on the top, they actually don't know what to say, where to say. That is the major problem. So when the one sitting on the top starts talking nonsense about Hindu Muslim, they are doing this, they are doing that. That way, the other ones, the ones sitting under them, they don't know what to say. So the bully starts happening from the top, and then any Tom, Dick, and Harry starts keep on saying. So everywhere, in fact, during the Lok Sabha elections, also you might have seen that a candidate is arrowing towards a mosque. So such kind of wrong statement starts on happening.
Yeah.
If the one sitting on the top knows what to say, where to say,
No, fair
and
enough.
you know
And
that, and you will
in due
got
credit,
hold of.
I've seen a lot of nasty people who have now met their comeuppance. Sadhvi Pragya, you've seen a lot of people, Hindu Mahasabha, Shriram Sene, not all their members, but certain aspects of their members no longer at the top of the game. So let me address this with Major Shah before, and I'll leave the last word with Rajanji. Major Shah, it's strange because when you're faced with something obvious, but then we're having a bitter fight about the obvious, that yes, in the north of India, yes, Ghazni did this, Aurangzeb did this. Why is that still an argument on whether temples were destroyed? Yeah, they were destroyed. Yes, things like this happened in Spain, they happened in Austria. There is a monument that was built in Istanbul that became a church, then it became a masjid, then it became a museum, then it became a masjid again. These things happen all over the world. Why are we still fighting tooth and nail about the veracity of these things?
Okay, Rishabh, whatever happened in the past, very sorry about that. I mean, the temples shouldn't have been destroyed in the first place. They were, but that's what invaders do actually. Irrespective of whichever religion they belong to, they come there and they invade, and that's exactly what they do. But it's very, very sad.
Exactly.
Like in 90s, I'll give you an example. Like in 90s, in Jammu Kashmir, there was a massacre of the Kashmiri Pandits, unfortunately, and my heart goes out. It was very, very sad. And there was no Twitter, there was no Facebook, there was not much voice in voicing our concerns and उसकी निंदा करने के लिए. So that doesn't mean one say that Muslims did that. These were terrorists who have no standing, who have no terrorism has no religion. And secondly, Karl Marx had once said, religion is the opium of the masses. So best way for any politician, irrespective of the party, is to tell them कि आप खतरे में हो, religion खतरे में है. I'll quickly conclude by saying I totally concur with what Professor Madhav Lalpat said. Richard, you don't believe it, to make a confession to you. About 4 or 5 years back, an educated person like me, I would believe that, if the CA comes into place, a patriotic Indian like me will have to lose his nationality. Well, I could believe that. How silly. Where it is not going to affect any existing Indian citizen. It's about protecting the rights of other minorities from India, Pakistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, from other countries. From other Muslim countries. So the very fact is, if a political narrative could be spread like that, and if educated people can actually believe that, I shudder to imagine what people who are lesser educated would be believing, Rishabh.
Okay, our last question to Rajan Khanna. Rajan Khanna, for the BJP in the time of Narendra Modi, and this is the time of Narendra Modi, there's no denying it. This is the era of Narendra Modi. Is simply delivering in absolute fairness and without any bias all the promises of government and all the best of the welfare of government to all communities without any bias. Is that enough? Done for long enough, done fairly for long enough, will that prove the point and assuage any concerns, or is a special effort required for those who still have insecurities, fears, or psychological concerns?
Rishabh, before coming to the exact answer of your question, I will give one, evidence. Bharat is secular because it is Hindu majority. Why? Out of 54 Muslim countries around the world, 90% are de jure, Islamic countries, and de facto 100% are not secular. They are Islamic countries, including Turkey, which is profess the constitution
Caliphate,
of the country after Kemal Ataturk professes to be secular. But recently they converted 1500 years old Hagia Sophia again to mosque. Okay, now that is the thing. When we say we are secular practically also, palpably also. That is thing. Second thing, when it comes to, wherever in Bharat, for example, in Kashmir, you ought to read 1,000-year-old Tarangani written by Kalhan and just see number of temples which were there in Valley of Kashmir, and now go and see the condition of the entire old temples. So now coming back to the positive side of our philosophy, Sanatan philosophy, and all the philosophies, ideologies which got their birth here in Bharat, that includes Buddhism, Jainism, even Sikhism. Say, Sarve bhavantu sukhno, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kachit dukh bhag bhave. That is a Vedic thing. Come to Guru Granth Sahib. Sabbe sanji val sadan tu kise nadi se bhara diyo. Okay. Another thing, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Manas ki jaat sabbe ko pehchan. They have not divided the society into segments of Momins and Kafirs.
Okay.
Buddhism, Jainism.
Okay, but
that is our ethos.
Okay, but right now my question. Yes. Is Rajan Khanna is simply saying, look, 10 years ago, I said as Prime Minister, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Okay? For 10 years, I have done my utmost to live to that promise. In every welfare mechanism of the state machinery, of which we have done many, there has been no discrimination on the basis of religion. So I've lived by that slogan, and that is enough for me to win the trust of the minorities. That's fair enough. Is that reasonable?
It is very much reasonable, and economists have to see it, and the other social scientists, anthropologists, they have to go to each and every village throughout Bharat and go and see what he has done for people. When there is a soy gas given, that is not given only on the basis of faith or caste. It has been given on economic standard. You need it so whether you are a Muslim or a Hindu. Road is made for everybody. Now again, I'll tell you, I am going to some light on the future course of action also. Last month, our total GST collected 2 lakh crore rupees, and I can forecast sitting over here this year itself, maybe within 1 year, we will see that to inflate it to 3 lakh crore rupees. Per month. Where is that going to be spent?
Yes,
where is that
hopefully on all of us.
On the people.
Yes, regardless of community. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, there are some fundamental choices. Okay, because it boils down to whether you believe in the conceptualization of what the Prime Minister is trying to tell you and says he's implementing, that I said Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. I'm not discriminating. There's no evidence of any discrimination on the basis of religion. Everybody who deserves the welfare of government, of the taxpayer, should receive it equally. Versus being told that no, there needs to be a quota, there needs to be a survey, an X-ray, we need to figure out castes, we need to figure out minority quotas, which of the two is the way forward. I'm going to thank my guest.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.